The Haunting of Hill House is a phenomenal horror series that stands out as one of the best shows of the last decade. Regardless of genre, Mike Flanagan's debut TV series isn't just an adaptation of Shirley Jackson's novel, it's a genuine tribute to it. The storyline follows the Crane siblings across two timelines, one as kids surviving the horrors of a haunted house, and the other as adults facing their past trauma and tragic losses. The show beautifully explores the theme of grief while intertwining it with a spooky ghost story. Instead of jump scares or extreme violence, Flanagan weaves together a meditation on grief that's covered in dread. This climaxes into one of the most horrific scenes in the show, which also ranks as one of the best jump scares in horror history. It's a jump scare so terrifying it even scared the cast, including Flanagan himself.
I was getting a little braver in these small, controllable increments.
The scene takes place at the end of episode 8, where the Crane siblings journey back to Hill House to confront their past and rescue a missing sibling. This pivotal episode sees the characters finally facing the secrets they've kept bottled up for years, the wounds they've inflicted on one another, and the supernatural occurrences they denied for so long. As the two surviving Crane sisters, Shirley and Theo, drive up to the house, they engage in an intense argument, forcing them to confront unresolved issues. During their heated exchange, the ghost of their dead sister, Nell, suddenly appears and scares the hell out of everyone. Elizabeth Reeser, who portrays Shirley, told Pop Sugar that filming that scene was just as scary as watching it, sharing, "Yeah, it was really scary when we did that scene, because if someone came up right now behind me, I would jump, you know?" Likewise, Oliver Jackson Cohen, who played Luke Crane, revealed that he got scared watching that scene and screamed twice because he was still scared. Even Victoria Pedretti, who did the scaring in the scene as Nell, confessed to Decider that she frightened herself just shooting the scene, saying, "I knew it was happening, and I screamed at myself." The reason the scene works so well is because up to that point, we hadn't really got any jump scares in The Haunting of Hill House. There were scary moments and little jumps, like the bent neck lady, but nothing like this. Usually, the scares happened at the house or in moments with long leads before the actual jump scare. Prior to this moment, there were gut-wrenching scenes and haunting imagery, but nothing that shook us to our core.
What you don't see is scarier than what you do.
We got caught off guard in the midst of an emotional conversation between sisters Theo and Shirley as they argued about their shared trauma, with the jump scare interrupting them mid-conversation. The tone of the scene turned eerie and spine-chilling. It was the turning point where the two sisters realized that what they had been experiencing throughout their childhood was not a figment of their imagination, but ghosts manifesting in reality. The pairing of the sisters added to the realism of the scare. Theo had always been attuned to the supernatural, while Shirley was constantly skeptical and disbelieving. The stark contrast between their beliefs made the jump scare more palpable, heightening the reality of the terror we felt as viewers. Ultimately, the scene was a perfect example of how to build tension in horror and use that tension to freak out your audience. As creator Mike Flanagan told Entertainment Weekly, it wasn't just the cast that got spooked. Even the people behind the scenes flinched. Turns out, they knew the jump scare was coming and had rehearsed it to happen at a certain cue. Flanagan instead took Victoria Pedretti aside and told her to come in substantially earlier than the written cue. So, when Pedretti shows up and scares the wits out of everyone, the reactions are genuine. Even Flanagan was scared, admitting it also scared the out of all of us at the monitor. All of us who knew it was coming were completely blindsided by it. And every time I've seen it, I'm never prepared. I'm just never ready for it because I get sucked into what they're saying. And they seem so relaxed that it just gets me.